All right, back here at the University of Wisconsin Stout Football Stadium, Don and Noda Stadium. Menomonie Mustangs and the Hudson Raiders here on another beautiful Friday night. And as we went into that break, as you listen to the national anthem, I mentioned obviously the flags being at half staff today. September 11th, 2001, obviously a day that left its mark in U.S. history and will continue to make its mark as we continue to live our lives. And just on a little bit of a side note, I feel quite thankful to be doing this football game tonight, as I think a lot of people here at the stadium, these players, all should take, if they haven't already, take a step back and realize that they are very fortunate to be able to play this game, to be able to watch this game, to be able to broadcast this game. So I thought I would just leave that little note out there as the Hudson Raiders starters actually are being introduced, but we won't do that for the Menomonie Mustangs. So both teams getting ready for kickoff here, and I usually try to take a look at it, but I missed it today, the coin toss, so I'm not exactly sure who's kicking off and who will be receiving the opening kickoff, but obviously we'll find out soon enough. And John, just some final thoughts as we get set here.
Well, a big-time matchup here, week number 2 of the Big Rivers Conference season, week number 4 of the 2015 season. Again, just recapping what we discussed in the pregame there, 7 straight wins of the Hudson Raiders over the Menomonie Mustangs. And so Menomonie looking to break that streak here. The last 2 years we have been, this game has been played in Hudson. Hudson has not been here since 2012. They came away with a big 31-7 win some 3 years ago. A powerful Menomonie team coming off a big 43-0 win over Eau Claire North at Carson Park last week, and then two good convincing non-conference wins prior to that, coming in with a very solid 3-0 record. And looks like we're going to have a good crowd tonight. A very cool evening for the 11th of September, and so it's football weather and football on the network. Glad to have you aboard. You can email us here at Williams Stadium. Very easy to do. Click on the email us link on your game tracker screen. You can let us know who you are, where you're listening from, who you're cheering for tonight. I know we got people all over the place tuning in to this game tonight, so we're glad to have you aboard, and let's get ready for some football.
And it looks like Hudson will be kicking off from left to right to begin the ball game. A couple of guys back deep to receive for Menomonie, number 13, Rhett Sheehan, and number 28, Evan Hoosby. So those will be the deep men to begin the ball game for the Menomonie Mustangs. They'll get the football first. And doing the kickoff for the Hudson Raiders will again be number 12, Christian Bell. Remember him from a couple of weeks ago, as I said. I got the great pleasure of doing the game against Heartland Arrowhead, and I'm very excited to see what Hudson has to offer here again tonight. As I said, left to right to begin the ball game, with Bell doing the honors.
Well, Christian Bell, I'm sure he took it hard when he missed the potential game tying kick, but it was a 50-yard kick, and that's very, very difficult at the NFL level, much less the high school. So the whole team has to really shake it off with the Superior loss last weekend, and it's onward and upward.
And initial kickoff down, going to be taken at the 10-yard line. They'll try a fake, and they'll reverse it back near side. It's still at the 10-yard line, doesn't quite get out. Now he gets out to the 15-yard line. So a little bit of trickery initially from the Menomonie Mustangs. Sheehan handing it off to Evan Hoosby, who, as I mentioned, gets out across the 15-yard line, and that's where Menomonie will start their opening drive here tonight from the campus of University of Wisconsin Stout. As I mentioned before, a big backfield for the Menomonie Mustangs. Senior quarterback Nate Stanley standing at 6'5", 212 pounds, and Mason Stockey, their workhorse running back, 6'3", 211 pounds. So we'll see what they do here initially, and it looks like Stanley is going to go out of the pistol. 2 men in the backfield, 2 receivers near side. Man in motion. Stanley takes the snap, and they'll hand it right up the middle to Stockey. Gets across the 20 and down at the 22-yard line. A handful of defenders there for the Hudson Raiders. First man in on the tackle was number 67, Sam Truler.
Mason Stockey, 6'3", 211 pounds, senior. He had a brother, Nico Stockey, that played here a few years back, so they're very much runs in the family.
2nd and 4 from the 22-yard line for the Mustangs. And as we saw a couple weekends ago, Heartland Arrowhead didn't like to huddle, but Menomonie looks like they like to huddle. Now 2 tight end set. Stanley under center takes the snap. They'll pitch it. Now Stocky cuts it back up the middle, crosses the 25 out to the 26, and again taken down by a handful of defenders, and it looks like he's going to have enough for the first down.
Nothing too fancy early on for the Menomonie Mustangs, starting out fairly deep in their own territory. Between the tackles, smash mouth, they do it very well. The Menomonie Mustangs are a very disciplined team. They know exactly what they want to do. A lot of repetition and practice, and as we talked about earlier, they are more inclined because of Stanley's athletic ability to go to the air more so than they have in years past, but primarily they're going to beat you by the ground. They're going to physically beat you up.
Again, a 2 tight end set. Stanley will once again go under center. Offset eye in the backfield. Again, handoff Stuckey. This time cuts it back to the right, crosses the 28, and then driven backwards. First man to make the hit was Joe Geisler for the Hudson Raiders, and then taken down by 2 or 3 more Hudson Raider defenders. So not much on the play, maybe a yard. 2nd down and 9 now for the Mustangs.
Good interior defensive penetration that time by the front boys of the Hudson Raiders there, and that one got one, and I barely got one, so 2nd and long.
Approaching 10 minutes to go here in the first quarter, just a couple of minutes in, and it looks like on 2nd and 9, we're going to go shotgun again for the Mustangs. Stocky right behind Stanley, takes the shotgun snap, fakes the handoff, looking to the left. Now he rolls outside. Now he's found a man. He found Stocky across the 35, far side 40, across the 45, and ankle tackle by number 13, John Cryer for the Hudson Raiders, but not before a gain of about 20 yards and another Mustang first down.
Mason Stocky is the real thing. He's had a tremendous first 3 games of the season, had a great game against Eau Claire North last week. And the Hudson Raiders are going to see a steady diet of Stocky this evening.
So the pass complete from Stanley to Stocky. They get it to their own 49-yard line, a fresh set of downs. And here we go again. Stanley out of the shotgun. This time 5 receivers set. Now a man in motion. They do the jet sweep across the 45 near sideline. Now he gets across midfield, but then driven backwards by Hudson's Alex Shaw, who came up to make a big tackle on the Mustangs, number 28, Evan Hoosby. So maybe a gain of about 2 or 3 and a big lick from the Hudson defense.
Well, as the Mustangs drive into Hudson territory here on their opening possession of the game, still showing 2nd.
2nd down and 7 here for the Mustangs. They're going to go out of the shotgun again. Another 5 receiver set, this time 3 to the far side. Tight end in the slot, 2 receivers near side. Another man in motion, that's Hoosby. Fakes the handoff to Hoosby. Now Stanley's going to roll out to the right. Looks back across his body. Got a man at the 35, inside the 35, and taken down at the 30-yard line. Another pass complete. This time it's number 13, Rhett Sheehan on the completion. So Stanley 2 for 2 on the evening. A couple of wide open receivers and another set of chains for the Menomonie Mustangs, this time at the Hudson 30-yard line.
And that's been an Achilles heel of this Hudson defense, which overall is a very good defense. But we saw Heartland Arrowhead a couple of weeks ago be able to consistently throw against this Raider defensive secondary here, and the Mustangs got a good drive going.
Fresh set of downs, 1st and 10 from the Hudson 30-yard line. Stanley back under center, diamond set in the backfield, 1 receiver out wide near side. And it looks like Menomonie, a little bit of confusion there pre-snap, and they're going to have to take a timeout, their first timeout here of the first half.
Well, while Menomonie sorts it out, Coach Joe Labuda prowling the sidelines, going out, and 26 years at the helm. A very, very successful run here in Menomonie. And I can guarantee you, Menomonie wants this game bad because they're probably sick and tired of hearing about how they've lost to Hudson 7 straight years in a row when their record against everybody else is so stellar, and this, a lot of people here in Menomonie think this is the year they get back to that top dog status here in the Big Rivers Conference. The Big Rivers Conference is very strong this year. At least early indications would show that. Chippewa Falls undefeated, Rice Lake undefeated, Superior undefeated, Menomonie undefeated. The team that's really on the bottom and really struggling is River Falls, at 0-2 non-conference record and really having a hard time right now. But from top to bottom, with the exception of River Falls, very, very strong conference this year.
So they get things sorted out. They get the right personnel back on the field as Coach Labuda was barking at the sideline during that timeout. Quickly up to the line, Stanley under the center, and a fly sweep out to the left here. Near side 30-yard line, doesn't quite get back to the line of scrimmage. That's Jake Goodman, one of the men that Coach Labuda was barking at from the sideline to get into the game there after that timeout. No gain on the play, so second down and long again for the Mustangs.
Nice tackle that time by 6'1", 195-pound senior linebacker Alex Richards for the Raiders.
Quickly back up to the line. Two receivers to the right, and again Stanley under center. This time Stocky up the middle, crosses the 25, down close to the 20-yard line, and taken down at the 21. So a gain of 9 on second down will bring up a third down and short. Another big run for Mason Stocky.
Going into the MSBN email bag, we want to say hello to Liz Miller. She's tuning in from Bribie Island, Australia, to watch her son, number 71 in the offensive line, James Broughton. And she says, go Raider. Liz, thank you for tuning in tonight.
Stanley under center. Again, 3 running backs in the backfield, 2 tight end set. Stanley going to sneak it up the middle himself. Easily got the first down and maybe a couple more brought down by Hudson's number 95, Isaac Schindler, among others. So another first down picked up. This time Stanley takes care of it himself. And 1st and 10 from the Hudson 18-yard line.
Big Nate Stanley, 6'5", 212-pound senior, and he can run. He's got an excellent arm, good field vision, a good leader out there. They're expecting a tremendous season out of him this year.
And another big man up front for the Mustangs, just out of the game, who is in there to block, presumably 6'2", 268-pound senior tight end Justin Link. Now this time Stocky again up the middle, crosses the 15, inside the 10, 5, touchdown inside the pylon. Mason Stocky from 18 yards out gets the Mustangs on the board, and it's an early 6-0 lead for Menomonie.
Well, we speculated we were going to see a steady diet of one Mason Stocky for the Menomonie Mustangs, and we were correct in that opening drive. He is the real thing, ladies and gentlemen. He's got the speed, he's got the size, he's got the vision, and the Raiders are going to have to make some adjustments defensively, or he's going to have a big game.
And quarterback Nate Stanley, the man who will be on to kick the extra point. And again, some confusion on the Menomonie sideline as another player enters. So we'll see if they can get enough guys on the field before the play clock runs out. As I said, the quarterback Stanley in to do the extra point.
Still looks like some confusion.
Finally, they get the snap off. Ball is down, kick is up. And after a little bit of a Broadway production there, Menomonie has a 7-0 lead, courtesy of Mason Stocky and quarterback Nate Stanley on the extra point.
Well, if you're the Menomonie Mustangs, you're very, very happy with that opening drive. Started fairly deep down in your own territory, and a steady diet of Mason Stocky, and they strike pay dirt through the air, on the ground, some big gains. Good work by the offensive line by the Mustangs, opening up the holes. Stanley certainly showed us that he is a very top-notch quarterback, and now it's up to the Hudson Raiders to respond, find themselves down early. Still looking for their first win of the season against the Menomonie Mustangs team that is undefeated. And the past is just that. It's the past. And Hudson is going to have to answer a very fired up, very solid Menomonie Mustang team.
So Menomonie goes 85 yards on their opening drive. An 18-yard touchdown run from Mason Stocky, and a Nate Stanley extra point has the Mustangs up by a score of 7-0. And the upcoming opening possession for the Hudson Raiders, Andres Burgess back deep to receive for the Raiders. And again, Stanley will do the honors on the kickoff as well as the extra points for the Mustangs. So they do it all, senior quarterback here. 6:52 to go in the first quarter. Stanley ready and set to kick this one off right to left, and he gets it off. Low lining kick, and we have a flag down. It looks like it's going to be offsides on the Mustangs.
Offsides on Hudson, looks like.
Oh, wow.
Offside against Hudson is indicated.
And I thought the same thing, Zach, that somebody left the line early, but you don't see that a whole lot where you have a offsides penalty on the receiving team.
That might actually be the first time I've ever seen that.
Yeah.
5-yard penalty.
So they'll move the ball up 5 yards from the 40 to the 45-yard line, and Stanley will tee it up and try to do it again. So now Burgess, instead of having his heels on the 5, he'll have his heels on his own goal line for the Raiders.
Game time temperature, a cool 59 degrees, especially for the 11th of September. A week ago, I think at game time we were at 87 or 88, so a stark change in 1 week's time.
Midwest weather for you, and it's starting to feel like football weather. Again, a low lining kick. Burgess going to take it and going to let it go over his head so it lands in the end zone. It'll be a touchback. So Hudson, their opening drive will start from their own 20-yard line, and we'll see what quarterback Charlie Richards and workhorse Dayton Diemel could do on the opening possession here in Menomonie.
We want to invite our viewers from wherever you're tuning in from to give us an email. Very easy to do. Click on the email us link on the upper right corner of your game tracker screen. You can let us know who you are, where you're listening from, who you're cheering for tonight. Glad to have you on board for
Pistol
MSBN
set.
coverage.
Pistol set right away for quarterback Charlie Richards. 2 receivers left and right. He'll drop back to pass right away. Going deep, looking for Trapiccio down the near sideline. They're going to throw a flag. Pass was incomplete, intended for Steven Trapiccio, as I said, but it looks like it's going to be a pass interference penalty on the Mustangs. So looks like we're going to move the ball up 15 yards. Yep, indeed it is pass interference, so move it up to the 35-yard line. So a quick 15 yards. Maybe not necessarily how they drew it up, but nevertheless, the Hudson Raiders will take it.
Well, and Menomonie had double coverage on Trapiccio, and the pass was definitely short. But a different rule in high school football. It's a 15-yard penalty for a pass interference, whereas in the NFL, that would be the penalty would be at the place where the actual interference occurred.
Now Richards will go under center. Jagger Marvin split out left, far sideline. Handoff Diemel right up the middle. Got a couple initially, then he's pushed back, so they'll mark it as a gain of 1 for Dayton Diemel. So not much doing there on first down. It'll be 2nd down and 9.
Well, Diemel had a very good second half, in particular late in the second half against Superior last week when they really started to feature the senior running back. They're going to need a big game out of him tonight.
Now Trapiccio in motion. Richards takes the snap, and they had that one sniffed out from the beginning. It looks like a false start penalty this time on Hudson.
Either that or 2 men in motion. It is false start. It actually could have been either. I think Hudson had two men in motion simultaneously in addition to the false start.
So illegal movement by the Raiders, so back them up 5 yards. So it goes from 2nd and 9 to 2nd and 14. The Menomonie defense is pumped up after that one. 2nd and long here for the Mustangs, and it looks like Richards will go under center. 1 receiver to the left, 1 receiver to the right. Offset eye backfield, man in motion. Richards takes the snap, handoff right up the middle. Dayton Diemel across the 35, across the 40. Brings a couple of tacklers with him as he gets near the 45-yard line and near a Hudson first down. It'll depend on the spot, but either way, not very far to go.
Well, a nice recovery coming off that false start to gain it all back and sets up a very makeable 2nd and 1.
3rd and less than 1. Richards under center. Handoff again. Diemel right up the middle. He did get the first down, maybe a yard or 2 on the play. He's dropped down after a gain of 1. They will give him the first down, so across the 45 to the 46-yard line and move the chains. 2 first downs for the Hudson Raiders.
We have this beautiful video scoreboard. It just takes a little bit of getting used to here. I'm used to our one back in Newton Field. What a tremendous facility here at Williams Stadium.
Now Richards back out of the pistol formation. 2 receivers near side, 1 to the far side. Here's Jagger Marvin in motion. Richards back to pass. Looks right. He's got Marvin. He's open. Pass a little underthrown. They're going to say it was incomplete. Only would have been a gain of maybe 1 or 2 if Marvin would have been able to bring that one in. Nevertheless, 2nd down and long again for the Raiders.
Jagger Marvin had a couple real nice catches last week against Superior. 5'10", 140-pound junior. Younger brother of Braden Marvin, who played a number of years for the Raiders.
Again, 2 receiver set. This time Trapiccio in motion. Richards under center, takes a snap. Diemel up the middle, crosses midfield inside Menomonie territory, brought down at the Mustang 47-yard line by a couple of different tacklers. First man to get there was Austin Steidel for the Mustangs. So 3rd down and 3 now.
We're probably going to see 20 to 25 carries tonight for Dayton Diemel out of the Raiders. I suspected that going in, and it's shaping up to be just that.
Now 4 receiver set. Richards out of the pistol formation. Burgess in motion. Richards back to pass. Rolls to the right. Fires across his body over the middle. Nearly intercepted by the Mustang defense. The man who knocked it down, Rhett Sheehan for the Mustangs. But pass incomplete from Charlie Richards. It was intended for number 82, Sam Carney. So 4th down and 3 now for the Hudson Raiders, and it looks like they're going to go for it.
Without hesitation, and Coach Adam Cowles in the years we've been covering Hudson football, consistently goes for it on 4th and short.
4th and 3 from the Menomonie 47-yard line. Richards under center and pre-snap motion by the Hudson offensive line, so move them back 5 yards, and they'll probably rethink going for this one as, yes indeed, the punt team will come onto the field, so Hudson will have to kick it away after the false start penalty on 4th and short.
A lot of these mistakes that Hudson is making are really what cost them the game against Superior. You know, the false starts and different missed assignments and missed opportunities. You know, that's huge. Now you're going to end up having to punt it away, and a very, 4th and short becomes 4th and 8, and you have to punt it. Changes the whole dynamic of your philosophy.
So Christian Bell back to punt it away for Hudson. He gets a clean snap, end over end punt, now inside the 10-yard line, taken there by Sheehan, crosses the 10, coming towards near sideline, crosses the 15, still breaking tackles, and now he's driven back inside the 15-yard line. Finally, Hudson's number 10, Tom Geisler, the first man to meet him after a couple of broken tackles. So again, Menomonie will start in negative territory at their own 15-yard line, and actually a couple of injuries for both teams here. Number 70 for Hudson is down, Sam Welch, and I can't quite get the number for Menomonie. A Menomonie player out back near midfield near the line of scrimmage is also down.
Of course, artificial field turf here in Williams Stadium. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the only field in the Big Rivers Conference left with natural grass is at Hudson, as the University of River Falls went to field turf this year with the renovation of their field over there. A very nice renovation. Of course, Zach, you attend University of Wisconsin River Falls, then the home of the Falcons and the Wildcats over there. Nice renovation. Raymer Field, kind of spaced on the name there for a minute, but really, so field turf is the way it is in the Big Rivers Conference. And
it's getting that way for a lot of schools, not necessarily just the bigger schools. In Wisconsin, you talk about the Division I and Division II schools, or Minnesota with 6A and 5A, but a lot of the smaller schools, including some of the 2A and 3A schools. Jordan, my hometown, just installed a brand new turf field, and they're a 3A school in Minnesota. So you see a lot of teams getting, whether it be by donation or boosters or however they're funding it, a lot of teams are going to the turf field look.
Well, it's a big-time upfront investment, but over the long haul, it's a much more cost-effective alternative. You don't have mowing, you don't have fertilizing, you don't have to line the field, you don't have to re-sod. You're not susceptible if you go through a dry spell or where you have a lot of rain. If you get a lot of rain early in the season and you have a game, that field. I've seen this happen time and again. That field is basically wrecked for the entire for the entire season. And with the field turf, that's just not the case. As a football traditionalist, I like I like the grass, but there's a lot to be said for the new field turf.
Both injured players up and walking on their own power off the field. As I said, Sam Welch for Hudson and number 45, Braden Paulson for Menomonie. They both made their way back to their respective sidelines without very much help. So hopefully all is well with both those two. As I said, Menomonie 1st and 10, taking over at their own 15-yard line again. Stanley under center, 3 men in the backfield. Pitch, Stocky up the middle. Now he cuts it back across the 20, near the 25-yard line. A pickup of about 8 or 9 again on first down for Mason Stocky. So we talked about him pregame, and he's maybe worth the price of admission alone here so far.
Well, we talked about coming into this game. He had a huge game against North, huge game in the non-conference. They expected big things out of him. And Hudson defensively is going to have to figure a way to stop him, or we're going to see a repeat what we saw on that opening drive.
Inside of 4 minutes now, 2nd down and 1. Stanley under center. They fake the handoff this time. This time he's going to throw right. He's got a man across the 30, far sideline, across the 35. Finally tripped up near the far side 40-yard line. That's Menomonie's Logan Miller, his first action of this evening. A pass complete, I believe. Stanley is a perfect 3 for 3, if I'm not mistaken, so far. And another first down for the Menomonie Mustangs, this time at their own 38-yard line.
Well, this offense is definitely an improvement from what Menomonie had last year. Menomonie had a lot of injuries last year, and shaping up much better this year.
And again, 2 tight end set, 3 running back backfield. This time pitch, Stocky cuts it back up the middle, crosses the 38, maybe got to the 40-yard line. Not very much. A good job of bottling him up by the Hudson front 7 that time, and a minimal gain of 2, so 2nd down and 8 now.
Under the 40.
Mitch Swanson, among others, for the Hudson Raiders in on the tackle, setting up a 2nd and 8.
3:05 to go here in the first quarter. Menomonie leads it 7-0 over the Hudson Raiders. Again, Stanley under center. This time fakes the snap, throws to the right, and driven backwards. The pass is complete. Caught at about the 44-yard line. Again, that was number 26, Logan Miller, on the reception, but not very much. So actually the first really 3rd down and medium for the Menomonie Mustangs. It'll be 3rd and 5 from their own 44-yard line.
Well, this is a big play for the Hudson defense. You know, already find themselves in a hole, 7-0 on the road as the underdog against an undefeated team that offensively is doing very well. You know, trying to stop them here and force a punt.
Again, 2 tight end set, actually 3 tight end set, 1 receiver each side, Stocky in the backfield. This time some motion from the Menomonie offensive line, and we'll see who the penalty is on here.
Well, could this be a repeat of what happened to Hudson on the 4th and 3? And it is, Zach.
And they're going to back him up. A pre-snap motion by the Menomonie Mustangs. So back them up 5 yards. So it goes from 3rd and 5 to 3rd and 10. And we'll see how they respond to their first 3rd and long of the evening as we approach 2 minutes to go in the first quarter.
Well, that really changes the play call here. Most likely going to the air, but I wouldn't count on it. And Hudson's been torched a couple times through the air on that first possession.
Empty set, 3 tight ends, 3 receivers. Stanley all alone in the backfield. Back to pass, plenty of time, all the time in the world. Now rolls out to the right, far side 30, throwing across his body, back across the field. He's got a man. Hudson 35-yard line, slipping tacklers, and inside the 35, a flag thrown at the end of the play. A beautiful improvisation job by quarterback Nathan Stanley. He finds Rhett Sheehan on the near side of the field as he rolled out to his right inside the Hudson 35-yard line, and we'll see what the flag's for. As it stands right now, a 35-yard gain on the pass, and it's going to be a face mask penalty against the Hudson Raiders, so move the ball even farther inside Hudson territory. We'll move it from the 33 all the way down. Oh, they're saying it was unintentional, so it's only a 5-yard penalty. But either way, tack on 5 yards, so from the 33 to the Hudson 28-yard line, another set of fresh chains for the Menomonie Mustangs.
And what a turn of events. You know, after that Menomonie penalty, they're facing a 3rd and 9 fairly deep in their own territory. And now they're approaching the red zone already.
Again, handoff Stocky right up the middle, inside the 25, close to the 20, down to the 21-yard line. So another pickup of decent yardage on first down. This time a pickup of 6 on first down. So 2nd down and 4 as we approach a minute and a half to go here in the first quarter. Menomonie on top, 7-0 over the Hudson Raiders.
And once again, the Hudson defensive secondary, although they had good coverage and Stanley was just able to scramble around there and buy some time with that big-time arm strength that he's throwing across his body, across the other side of the field as the defensive coverage eventually broke down and they converted that 3rd and long.
Under center, 3 tight ends, 1 receiver. 2 men in the backfield, handoff Stocky right up the middle, crosses the 15, inside the 15 down to the 12-yard line. Mason Stocky once again picking and prodding his way through the Hudson defense. Move the chains, another first down, this time at the Hudson 12.
Our first Big Rivers Conference score update of the evening. Eau Claire North hanging right with Rice Lake. That game up in Rice Lake. North trailing the Warriors 14-13, and Chippewa Falls on the road, an early 14-0 lead over the undisputed Superior Spartans.
So 1st and 10 from the 12. Stocky again cuts back in the backfield, this time going to be wrapped up for only a 2-yard gain. Again, a lot of defenders there for Hudson. Alex Shaw was one of the first men to meet Mason Stocky as he crossed the line of scrimmage. So 2nd down and long.
And so Hudson here with their back to the wall. Menomonie driving inside the red zone for the 2nd time this game, already sitting on a 7-0 lead. You got to wonder if this is maybe the last play of the first quarter here.
25, closing in on 20 seconds to go in the first quarter. Stanley under center. Again, that 3 tight end set, 2 men in the backfield, 1 receiver near side. Stanley takes the snap, handoff Stocky up the middle, now inside the 10, close to the 5-yard line. So another pickup of about 6 yards that time, and another injured player for the Menomonie Mustangs. This time it's big tight end, number 86, 6'2", 268-pound senior Justin Link, down on the near side, close to the 7-yard line. So the big man in as one of the blocking tight ends in this 3 tight end set for the Mustangs goes down, and it looked like an apparent ankle injury.
Well, as he's being worked on, again, we want to invite our viewers to shoot us an email here at Williams Stadium. Love to get the email bag filled up. We get emails from people listening all over the place, whether you're a Menomonie fan, a Hudson fan, wherever you're listening from, back home in Hudson, here in Menomonie, abroad, in the state, East Coast, West Coast, North, South. Shoot us an email. Love to hear from you. Very easy to do. Click on the email us link on your game tracker screen. You can let us know who you are, where you're listening from, who you're cheering for tonight. The big-time Big Rivers Conference showdown. And Menomonie, as we've been talking about, really wants this game because they've lost 7 in a row to Hudson, and they're at home this year. Hudson coming in desperately needing a win after dropping their first 2 games of the season and really not wanting to go into next week's game against an undefeated Rice Lake team. At least they're undefeated right now. 0-3. That'd be a tough way to start the 2015 campaign. A very solid start for the Menomonie Mustangs so far, up 7-0 and driving again.
And about 10 seconds to go in the first quarter as they get the big man Justin Link off the field with the help of a couple of his teammates. And we'll see if Menomonie will go ahead and run another play as they lead it, as you said, 7-0 here in the first quarter. And it looks like, at least for the time being, they're going to try to get another playoff.
Well, I think if that injury hadn't happened, they just would have let it wind out. But, the opportunity has now presented itself because of the stoppage of the clock with the injury, unless they...
And they do actually, once the ball's set, they're going to just let it roll. So they will let it run down. So that's going to be the end of the first quarter as the clock ticks down 7-0 in favor of the Menomonie Mustangs over the Hudson Raiders. And Menomonie obviously driving here, ball on the Hudson 5-yard line. We'll switch it from right to left for Menomonie as they'll go left to right. And they will have a 3rd down and 3 from the 5-yard line once we start the second quarter.
So many people affected by MDA. Let's do our part tonight to find a cure.
We'll continue to have Big Rivers Conference score updates coming in. Another Big Rivers Conference game on the MSBN Sports Network tonight from our affiliates up in WJMC country in Rice Lake. A big-time game up there as Eau Claire North trying to recover from the thumping they took at home last weekend to this Menomonie Mustangs team, 43-0 on the road against an undefeated Rice Lake team that cleaned up on a struggling River Falls Wildcats team last week over in River Falls. I want to say hello to Dustin. This is Trevor Strand's dad, number 30, Menomonie, listening at 3:32 in the morning from overseas. He's a 25-year Navy guy. So Dustin, thank you for your service.
Appreciate it.
Glad you could join us tonight.
So as we start the second quarter, as I said, 3rd down and 3 from the Hudson 5-yard line. 2 timeouts left for Menomonie here in the first half. All 3 timeouts remaining for the Hudson Raiders as they trail it by a score of 7-0. So now far right side of the field, north end zone, Stanley under center, 3 tight end set once again. 3 running backs in the backfield. Hard count from Stanley. Now he'll take the snap, pitch to Stocky across the 5. In closing towards the end zone, he reached the football up, but I don't think he got there. So the ball is going to be marked inside the 1. Didn't quite get there, but they do get a 1st down on the play. So 1st and goal from inside the 1-yard line.
I think he reached out and possibly broke the plane, but his knee was down before he did that. He still did get a favorite spot inside the 1-yard line. Decision time for Menomonie here. Do you go for the chip? Well, actually, excuse me. It's for that with that gain, it's 1st down.
Yep. So quickly back up to the line of scrimmage, closed in tight. They'll hand off Stocky right up the middle, and he walks into the end zone for a Menomonie Mustang touchdown. His 2nd touchdown of the evening, and also the 2nd touchdown for the Mustangs as they now lead it 13-0. 11:35 to go in the second quarter. Hudson's got some work to do.
Well, they certainly do. You know, they're an extra point away from being down 2 scores on the road against a Menomonie offense that's really moving the ball. Stocky's having an excellent game. Stanley as well. The offensive line is getting some good blocks, and you know, boy, it's been a tough start so far for the Hudson Raiders.
Nate Stanley's extra point up and is through once again, so Stanley knocks the extra point through for the second time tonight. Familiar story, a Stocky touchdown run and a Nate Stanley extra point, as that is the score. That's the story so far. Menomonie Mustangs 14, Hudson Raiders nothing. 11:35 to go here in the first half. Hudson about to get the football back for the second time tonight. What can they do differently on this drive that would help them try to get back in this one?
Well, first and foremost, you got to eliminate the penalties. You know, I don't know how many false starts we had against Superior. It was at least 3 or 4, and throw in a couple multiple men in action. You know, or multiple men moving simultaneously. So you can't have that. And now your margin for error, because you're already down by 2 touchdowns, has become even slimmer on the road against a fired up team that really has your number because of, you know, the streak and whatnot. Undefeated coming in. This is make or break time. Even though we're very early in the game, it's still anybody's ball game. But Hudson has to right the ship, or this one's going to be over soon.
Stanley tees it up for the Mustangs, set to kick off left to right, wind blowing in that direction towards the north end zone. Again, Burgess back deep to receive for the Raiders. Kick is up, end over end. Burgess going to take it, actually going to take it inside the 5, across the 10, 15, now the 20, 25. Got a hole across the 30, across the 35, and finally driven down there. That's number 25, Nick Holm, who actually took the return back that time for the Raiders. So he crosses a decent return back out to his own 37-yard line, and that's where the Raiders will start with decent field position.
Just checking in on some scores coming in. When we have halftime, we'll go through a comprehensive rundown of all the scores in the MSBN Sports Network scoreboard tonight. Also, Big Rivers Conference games coming in, and we'll keep you updated on those as Hudson tries to get something going.
Marvin goes in motion pre-snap. They'll hand it up the middle. Nick Holm crosses the 40, 45, near midfield, and dragging tacklers down near midfield to his own 49-yard line is Nick Holm. So a very good gain there on first down, and it might even be enough for another first down for the Raiders. And indeed it is. So a nice change of pace from Dayton Diemel to Nick Holm. So now Diemel back into the game as Holm exits. He did his job, moved the chains for the Raiders. So from their own 48-yard line, another first down. Richards out of the shotgun, 3 men in the backfield, man in motion. This time a handoff up the middle. This time it's Jagger Marvin, crosses midfield and crossed the 45-40 and nearly broke a tackle at the Mustang 40-yard line. And if he would have broken that tackle, he might have been off to the races there. But nevertheless, another big gain on first down and another first down for the Raiders.
This is exactly what the Raiders need to get into this offensive flow, get into the hurry-up offense, which is really what they do best. And Marvin has some good looks on his runs.
Marvin in motion pre-snap, and this time they'll pitch it out to him. Far side 35-30, down the sideline 25-20, and finally tripped up there. There's a flag down on the far sideline near the 20-yard line. Another big run from Jagger Marvin, and he was in motion pre-snap, and we'll see who the penalty's on. And they're going to say holding against the Hudson Raiders. So back him up. It negates the 17-yard gain from Jagger Marvin. We'll see where they back him up to. So the penalty was actually down near the 20-yard line, where the line of scrimmage was back at the 36. And we'll see where they move the ball to. So it may end up just being a second down and medium instead of second down and long here for the Raiders. So they're going to back them up to the 31-yard line. So basically good for a gain of 5 from Jagger Marvin that time. So they'll redo first down and 5 from the 31. Richards under center, Marvin in motion once again, 2 receiver set. Richards back to pass, looks over the middle, he's got a man. Trapiccio reaches up high, nearly brings in a one-handed catch, but the ball falls incomplete. Would have been a heck of an effort from Steven Trapiccio had he brought that one in, but incomplete, and second down and 5 for the Raiders.
Well, we talked about at the start of this offensive possession here for the Hudson Raiders to eliminate the mistakes, and they had such a great rhythm going and good momentum. And just look how that holding penalty backed him up.
Another man in motion. Richards under center. This time handoff Demo, 25-20. Bringing man with him inside the 15 and dragging tacklers, 2 or 3 men down to the 12-yard line. So a gain of about 18 yards that time by Dayton Demo on the straight give right up the middle, dragging tacklers down with him. And Hudson Raiders are finally in business in the red zone for the first time here tonight, down 14-0.
Well, they have to. They're down by 2 scores against a Menomonie team that's playing very well. They're going to have to strike pay dirt here, even if it's just a field goal. They got to come away with some points.
So now a timeout taken, another timeout taken by the Menomonie Mustangs. That's their second of the half, so they'll have only 1 remaining here with 10:27 to go in the second quarter. Hudson with all 3 of their timeouts remaining. As we said, 14-0 in favor of the Mustangs. A couple of rushing touchdowns from Mason Stockey and a couple of extra points from quarterback Nate Stanley has the Mustangs on top by a couple of scores here. But as we said, Hudson Raiders moving the football nicely on this drive. On this only their second possession of the game here in the second quarter, and moving it nicely with a 1st and goal from the Menomonie 12-yard line.
Of course, with Labor Day in the books and everybody finally back to school now and the temperature dropping, it's really the focus on football, whether it's high school football, college football, kicked off last week, NFL starts on Monday. This is the football time of year.
So Richards out of the pistol set, 3 running backs. Now Marvin in motion. Richards takes the snap. They'll hand off up the middle. Back across, maybe to the line of scrimmage, maybe a gain of 1. I believe that's Trapiccio on the carry for the Raiders. As I said, maybe got a yard. So it'll bring up 2nd down and about 9 from the Mustang 11-yard line.
Got to wonder if the Raiders maybe go play action to the air here. They primarily kept it on the ground.
2 receiver set. This time Trapiccio in motion across the formation. Richards under center. Again, they hand off Demo. Actually, Richards kept it himself, but maybe a bad decision there that time. He's brought down in the backfield by the Mustangs' number 2, Drew Bohan, the 5'10", 192-pound senior outside linebacker. So 3rd down and long again for the Raiders.
It's like Bohan read that one like a book, and that's one thing that the Raiders have tried to feature is that quarterback option play with Richards. You know, you have the option pitch or you have the option to keep it. He chose to keep it that time and went nowhere.
3rd down and 9 from the 11-yard line. Richards option out to Marvin. Got some room inside the 10. Crosses the 5. Close to the 1st down marker at the 3-yard line. It'll depend on the spot. A good gain on 3rd down. And we'll see if they'll give him the 1st down.
Boy, that's from my angle here. That looks like it's there. Boy.
4th down and less than a yard here for the Hudson Raiders. So they're obviously going to go for it. Down by 2 touchdowns. It'll be Richards in a tight formation under center. 3 men in the backfield, 1 receiver. Marvin in motion. They tried to draw him off with a hard count, so Marvin will reset. Richards adjusting things. He'll go back under center. Now he'll take the snap, handoff up the middle, crossing the 1. Now he crosses the goal line. Did he get in? Touchdown, Hudson Raiders. They're on the scoreboard. That was number 25, number 20, Steven Trapiccio on the carry for the Hudson Raiders. So he puts the Raiders on the scoreboard for the first time tonight, 14-6 in favor of the Mustangs.
Well, that's exactly what the Hudson Raiders not only wanted to do but needed to do after they've fallen down in a hole 14-0 or against these Menomonie Mustangs here, and now we're an extra point away from cutting that deficit in half.
And Christian Bell on for the extra point for the Hudson Raiders. Snaps down, kicks up, looks good, and it is. Christian Bell knocks in the extra point. So the scoreboard now reads Menomonie Mustangs 14, Hudson Raiders 7. So Hudson in their second possession of the night gets on the scoreboard. They cut the lead in half. 8:35 to go here in the first half, and we've all of a sudden got ourselves in a brand new football game.
Well, we have you. It's all about momentum shifts, and it's been all Menomonie. You know, completed that big time pass on 3rd and 9, and then ended up capitalizing on that to put their second score up. Had an outstanding opening drive. Saw a lot of Stockey on that. We're going to continue to see a lot of Stockey. Now it's the Raiders' challenge that they put points on the board, cut the lead in half. Do they have an answer for this Menomonie offense?
So Jake Goodman and Rhett Sheehan will be the men back deep to receive for the Menomonie Mustangs. Again, Christian Bell will do the honors for the Hudson Raiders in kicking off. from his own 40-yard line. This time it'll be right to left into that wind. Not very stiff right now. We've seen it gust a couple of times, but again, not too much of a wind being too much of a factor here tonight. And what's gotten to be a little bit of a brisk fall evening. Kind of chilly for a September 11th football game, but
it definitely is. I mean, you know, we're talking almost a full 30-degree difference in game time starting temperature than we had 7 days ago last Friday. So I prefer this weather myself. I'm not a hot weather guy.
I'm definitely there with you.
Yeah, this is football weather.
Bell ready to kick off. 8:35 to go in the second quarter. And here it is. End-over-end kick that'll be taken by Sheehan, from the 15 across the 20, 25, 30, got a hole, 35, 40, and finally brought down near midfield across the 43-yard line. That was Jake Goodman on the return for the Mustangs. So good starting field position for what's been a really good offense so far tonight in the Menomonie Mustangs, and we'll see how the Raiders respond.
Well, they have to figure out an answer for Stocky, probably get some more pressure on Stanley here, and the Raiders really need to do a force of 3 and out here. We've got 8:26 to go in the second quarter, and you know, figure out a way to stop the Mustangs.
Again, 3 tight ends, 3 backs, handoff Stocky up the middle, crosses the 45. Now he crosses midfield, makes a man miss, near side 40, 35, 30, finally driven down by a couple of defenders. Number 17, Reed Junko, was there for the Hudson Raiders. He brings him down inside the 30-yard line, but a big play from Mason Stocky to kick off this possession for the Mustangs, and they're already in Raider territory at the 28-yard line.
Well, Menomonie has answered the Hudson score big time. They had excellent starting field position, and Stocky got free there and had a nice big gain.
Approaching 8 minutes to go here in the first half. Stanley under center. Again, Stocky up the middle, crosses the 25, inside near the 20-yard line, down to the 21. Taken down by Hudson's number 36, Xander Motu. So second down and short once again for the Mustangs. Wholesale line change. 3 new players in to the huddle for the Mustangs, so we'll see if they spread it out here or stick to that 3 tight end system that's gotten them a lot of yards on the ground so far. And indeed, they do spread it out a little bit. 2 receivers far side, Stanley out of the shotgun, 2 men in the backfield, tight end to the right. Stanley takes the snap. Again, they hand off Stocky near side, crosses the 20, inside, down near the 15-yard line and driven out of bounds there. A couple of defenders there for the Hudson Raiders. First man, Isaac Dardine, the first man to meet him inside the 20. They do pick up a first down, so another set of chains for the Menomonie Mustangs. First down and 10 from the 16-yard line of the Hudson Raiders.
As we quick go into the MSBN email bag, James Murphy dropping a line in, cheering on his Raiders.
Inside the 20-15, this is Stocky again. Now inside the 10-yard line, down to the 5, probably to the 4-yard line. Stocky once again just right up the middle. And that offensive line of the Mustangs having its way so far with that Hudson Raiders front 7 inside the 5-yard line. First and goal once again for the Mustangs.
We've got some other nice emails coming in, and we'll get to those at our next at our earliest convenience. But right now, if you're a Hudson Raider fan, you know, you're potentially giving away the lead you just cut in half back to the Mustangs.
Stanley under center from the 4-yard line. Turns around, hands it off Stocky right side, and clean once again into the end zone. Mason Stocky scores his 3rd rushing touchdown of the night for the Menomonie Mustangs, and all of a sudden that 7-point lead is back to 13 here, 20-7 in favor of the Mustangs.
Well, we talked about coming into this possession, the Hudson Raider defense somehow, some way has to find an answer to Mason Stocky. They didn't have an answer at all. They're still scratching their head over there because Stocky was all over that drive.
Stanley on, no, not on, ready to kick the extra point once again. Ball's down, kicks up, and Stanley's extra point is through the uprights once again. So another rushing touchdown for Mason Stocky, his 3rd of the evening, extending the lead now to 21-7 in favor of the Menomonie Mustangs over the Hudson Raiders. Just inside 7 minutes to go, 6:59 remaining here in the second quarter, so only about a minute and a half off the board that time for the Menomonie Mustangs on that touchdown drive. So 7 minutes, plenty of time for the Hudson Raiders to answer right back here in this second quarter.
Well, yeah, Menomonie had their lead cut in half, and they just went out there without missing a beat, had excellent starting field position, and bang, 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 built the 2-touchdown lead right back up. The Hudson defense, they're going to have to figure something out, Coach Hatfield and Coach Cowles over there, because they have not had an answer for the Menomonie Mustangs, and in particular Mason Stockey.
All 3 timeouts remaining for the Hudson Raiders. Just 1 timeout remaining for the Menomonie Mustangs. As I said, just inside 7 minutes to go here in the first half. Menomonie on top by a score of 21-7. Burgess back deep again to receive for the Raiders, and Stanley set to kick off once again for the Mustangs. From his own 40-yard line, from left to right, end over end kick. This time Burgess going to take it inside the 5, near side 10, 15, 20. Got a line there, crosses the 25, near sideline, driven down there. A couple of defenders for Menomonie. First man to meet him, number 34, Owen Winter, the 5'8" junior for the Mustangs. Flag down on the play at the 25-yard line.
Well, as the referees sort it out here, I want to say hello to Joe Woosterbarth, and he says congratulations to Ken Larson being named to the Hudson High School Wall of Fame. A great tribute to a great person. Looking forward to Ken's introduction at next week's homecoming game. Of course, that game next week at home, homecoming obviously, against the Rice Lake Warriors.
The ball was marked at the 27, and it was a holding penalty on the Hudson Raiders, so move it back. Spot foul, so not necessarily where the ball was marked. So Hudson will begin from their own 14-yard line here, back deep inside their own territory. 6:50 to go in the first half. Hudson trails it by a score of 21-7. So 2 receivers far side to start this one off for the Raiders. Richards out of the pistol, 3 men in the backfield. Man in motion, that was Trapiccio. Richards going to go option, and he's slung down from the very beginning. Another flag down on the play, but Richards not much of a chance that time. Man right in his face off the snap. Man right in the option man's face off the snap. So not really anywhere to go with the football. We'll see what the flag was for.
Penalties again, hurting.
This time, actually, they're going to say it was illegal hands to the face by the defense, so a little bit of a break there that time for the Raiders. Penalty goes against the Mustangs, so we'll see where they spot this one. They're going to move them up to the 24-yard line. So fresh set of downs for the Hudson Raiders. 1st and 10 from their own 24.
Just talking about the Hudson penalty problems, but Menomonie's had a few of their own. But
Yep.
but you know, even before that, Hudson consistently backing themselves up with these penalties.
2 receiver set, 1 on each side. Trapiccio in motion. 2 men in the backfield. Richards under center. Screen off to the left, nearly picked off, but it gets across the 20-25. Now near sideline 30. The pass was complete to Dayton Demel. A defender right in Demel's face as he caught the football, but managed to slip away and pick up positive yardage. Maybe got 5 or 6 on the play, so 2nd down and manageable here for the Raiders.
Well, the Mustangs had a real good rush that time on Richards, but that freed up Demel out here on the left flat and got a nice gain out of it.
So Richards going to go under center. 3 receiver set, 2 tight end set. Man in the backfield, Jagger Marvin in motion. Richards takes the under center snap, handoff Demel right up the middle, crosses the 35. Enough for a 1st down, gets out to the 37-yard line. So a gain of about 4 on the play, and they do pick up the 1st down. So move the chains once again as we approach 6:15 to go here in the first half. Hudson Raiders got maybe a little something cooking here on offense once again.
Well, they're going to have to. They find themselves down again. 2 scores after Menomonie answered Hudson's only score of the game and sitting on a 2-touchdown lead. Plenty of time left, though, here in this second half.
Down by 2 scores, 21-7. Here we go, 4 wide receiver set. Marvin in motion, Demel to Richards right in the backfield. Takes the snap, they're going to screen it out to Trapiccio. Crosses the 35, gets a nice block across the 40. Down at his own 44-yard line, so a bubble screen out to Steven Trapiccio is good for about 6 yards on the 1st down play. So 2nd down and short once again for Hudson.
7-yard gain up to the 44, 2nd and 3.
Again, Hudson with their full complement of all 3 timeouts as they try to put a drive together here and draw it back to within 7.
Pistol formation, 2 receivers, 3 men in the backfield with a wingback. Richards takes the snap, handoff up the middle. This time it's Nick Holm, who he's stopped after about a gain of 2 right up the middle. So down at his own 46-yard line. 3rd down and short now for the Raiders.
Tackled by 8 Weber.
You have to wonder if Menomonie stops him here on 3rd and short. Looks like 3rd and 1. You know, Coach Cowles, if passes any indication, will go for it on 4th, even though they are in still Menomonie territory.
Inside of 5 minutes to go now in the first half. Richards under center, 2 receivers. Trapiccio in motion this time. Takes the snap, back to pass, looks over the middle, doesn't have a man. Flag down on the play as Richards rolls out to the right, crosses the 45. Doesn't quite get to the first down marker as he's dragged down at the far sideline by Menominee's number 8, Mitch Weber. So we'll see what the flag's for, and it's going to be holding against the Hudson Raiders. So either way, wouldn't have gotten the first down. Even if Richards would have reached the chains, ball would have been taken back due to the penalty. And we'll see what the Mustangs decide to do.
Penalties have really hurt the Hudson Raiders in this first half.
If they take the penalty here, it'll be 3rd and 11. If they don't, it'll be 4th and less than 1.
Well, to me, I think you take the penalty, but
talking to defensive captain for the Menomonie Mustangs.
oh, they figure it out. We got some more score updates coming in. End of the first quarter, a high-scoring shootout up north in Rice Lake, as Rice Lake is now pulled ahead of the Eau Claire North Huskies, 21-14. Eau Claire Memorial up 12-7 over River Falls.
So they do elect to take the penalty, so back them up to their own 33-yard line. So 3rd down and 14 yards to go for the Hudson Raiders. As I said, backed up to their own 33-yard line. 4:35 to go in the first half as the Raiders trail it by a score of 21-7 to the Menomonie Mustangs. We'll see what they draw up here. We're going to go 2 receiver set, 2 tight end set, 2 men in the backfield as Richards goes under center. Nick Holm, the man in motion across the formation. Richards back to pass, looks over the middle, nothing there, gets away from the pressure, rolls out to the left, now fires back over the middle. Had Trapiccio, but it's intercepted on the far sideline by Menominee's number 25, Mason Stocky. Who else? 3 touchdowns on offense, and now he comes away with an interception on defense. Cut off the pass from Charlie Richards that was intended for Stephen Trapiccio. And once again, Menomonie will take over with very good field position at the Hudson Raider 48-yard line.
Well, Richards really scrambling under a heavy Menomonie rush, threw kind of across his body, attempting to get something there, and turns it over. Menomonie starting in Hudson territory.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Mustangs from the Hudson 48-yard line. 4:25 to go here in the first half. Menomonie looking to extend that 21-7 lead. 1 timeout remaining for them. All 3 timeouts remaining for the Raiders.
Looks like Menomonie.
A little bit of confusion once again in getting that play in for the Menomonie Mustangs as Coach Labuda will come back out and have a discussion with his offensive unit. So another little bit of a break, and they are out of timeouts. So no timeouts remaining for the Mustangs as they lead it by 2 scores here in the first half.
Looking forward to having Terry Miller on our halftime show talking about Big Rivers Conference, Menomonie football. We'll talk some Hudson football, maybe even some NFL football. Just seeing what Terry's up to. Of course, Terry, one of the co-owners of MSBN and a resident here of Menomonie. His son Andy played for the Menomonie Mustangs a number of years ago, and some very, very successful teams that they had. And so we'll talk a little about that and just kind of this, that, and everything in between. If you're a Hudson Raider fan right now, you're not liking what you're seeing. They're down 21-7. You got to hope that Menomonie doesn't throw another score on the board here and go down to going at halftime down 3 scores.
Stanley going to roll out to right to the pass. Here, going to plenty of room, takes it inside the 45-40 and runs himself out of bounds inside the Hudson Raider 40-yard line. So a pickup of about 8 yards for Nate Stanley. Nobody open, plenty of room to run, and the smart decision that time by the senior quarterback picks up a solid gain on 1st down.
Stanley's a big guy, 6'5". I think he's listed at 6'5" and 225.
I think 212.
212, yeah. But he's got pretty decent speed for a big guy.
Again, back to that 3 tight end set, 3 men in the backfield. Stocky once again right up the middle. This time a nice defensive play by Hudson's Alex Shaw. He's made a couple of nice tackles so far for the Raiders. So closing in on 4 minutes to go. So 3rd down and long now for the Menomonie Mustangs. No gain on that time by Mason Stocky. That might have been the first time tonight where he didn't pick up positive yardage.
Yeah, he's definitely had Hudson's number. We don't have official stats up here, but he's had a tremendous first half. Maybe we'll get some halftime stats from the boys in the score box to our right.
Again, 3 tight ends, 3 men in the backfield. Stanley under center. Stocky, this time Stanley going to carry it himself. He'll pick up the first down, and the quarterback keeper right behind the center. So move it inside the Hudson 39-yard line. Good for another first down. 3.5 to go here in the first half. Menomonie looking to extend that 21-7 lead.
Yeah, and if you're Hudson, you do have 3 timeouts left. But right now, they're just holding on for dear life. I don't think they're even thinking about, if we stop them, we can, use our timeouts to preserve some time for us. Right now, they're just thinking, how do we keep Menomonie out of the end zone again?
Spreading it out a little bit, 2 receivers far side. Stanley out of the pistol. Again, handoff Stocky up the middle, crosses the 35. And again, a nice defensive play by that Hudson front 7. Doing a nice job on this series. Number 3, Joe Geisler, among others, in on the tackle. I believe number 94, Zammy Schwartz, was also in on the stop for the Hudson Raiders. Inside of 3 minutes to go here in the first half. 2nd down, and it looks like about 8 yards from the Hudson Raider 34-yard line. And it looks like they're going to spread it out once again. Stanley going to go out of the shotgun. 2 receivers far side, 1 near side. Takes the snap, looks right. Now he fires back to the left. A screen play to Sheehan inside the 30. Near side across to the 25, the 20, inside the 15. Breaks a tackle there inside the 10. And he's pushed out of bounds. Number 19, excuse me, that wasn't Sheehan. That was number 19, Jake Goodman, on the reception for the Mustangs. So gets the screen pass, comes across the field all the way inside the 10-yard line, and another 1st and goal for the Mustangs at the 9-yard line.
Mustangs knocking on the door again after a couple nice defensive plays by the Hudson Raider defense. Completed pass, and the Mustangs knocking on the door. 2:28. They do not have any timeouts left.
Back to that power set, 3 running backs. Stocky up the middle, crosses the 5, inside the 5. He'll be brought down there near the 4-yard line. So 2nd down and goal now as we approach 2:15 to go in the first half. We'll see how much time is left for the Hudson Raiders once they do get the football back, with all 3 of those timeouts remaining.
And then another question is, too, inside the 5-yard line, is the clock continuing to run? If Hudson does stop them, how is Menomonie's kicking game?
Right.
How much confidence do you have? You're already up 14. You hate to, walk away here with no points.
3 backs again, power I. Ball is lost on the snap. Who's going to fall on it? They did lose the ball on the initial snap here, but it looks like Menomonie will retain possession. Indeed, they do. Center, it looks like the center fell on it for Menomonie. That's one of their senior captains. I believe it's number 65, if I can find it. Dalton Rowan, the senior captain, listed at 5'10", 229 pounds. Senior center, well aware of the situation, fell on the football. So 3rd down and goal from just inside the 5-yard line. 1:20 to go. Handoff, Stocky right up the middle, crosses the 5. Did he get in? And he did. Touchdown, Menomonie. His 4th rushing touchdown of the evening for Mason Stocky. And the 2-touchdown lead extended to 3, 27-7 in favor of the Mustangs.
This has been the Mason Stocky show for this first half. If Hudson defensively does not have an answer for him, it's all over. Mustangs extra point away for a 3-touchdown lead.
So 27-7, looking to extend that with the extra point is Nate Stanley. Number 22, Sam Donofsky, the holder for the Mustangs. Stanley's extra point attempt is up and right down the middle once again. So he extends the lead. A Now a 3-score lead for the Menomonie Mustangs over the Hudson Raiders. 28-7 the scoreboard reads with 1 minute and 10 seconds to go here in the first half. All 3 timeouts remaining for the Hudson Raiders, so we'll see if they try to cut into this 3-touchdown deficit before the half.
Or do you just sit on it and try to regroup at halftime here? After Hudson cut the lead in half 14-7, Menomonie just kicked it into a whole nother gear and threw another 2 touchdowns on top of the 2 they already had. A 21-point second quarter. Mason Stockey a big reason for that, but Hudson right now is being outplayed by the Menomonie Mustangs.
We mentioned at the outset of this one, a pretty good crowd here tonight here at the University of Wisconsin Stout campus. Don and Nona Stadium. Recently built, as I'm told, within the last 5 or 6 years or so. As Stanley's ready to kick it off once again for the Mustangs, a familiar sight. Not necessarily a fond sight for Raider fans here tonight as Burgess back deep to receive at his own 3-yard line. Stanley ready to go, kicking off left to right. Another end-over-end kick, pretty decent. Burgess going to take it from his own 3 across the 5, 10, 15 to the 20. Gets across the 25, 30. And a couple of men meet him there and bring him back and push him back near the 25-yard line again. Owen Winter and Connor Hoosby in on the stop on the kickoff coverage team for the Mustangs. So 1:02 to go. Hudson will take it at their own 31-yard line.
Well, they do have their full complement of timeouts. If the clock stops at the movement of chains, you can also work the sidelines. But, you know, the other side of that sword is if you do something crazy, you're already down 3 touchdowns deep in your own territory against a Menomonie Mustang offense has just been lights out. You know, do you even take that chance right now?
Well, 3 receivers set, 2 men in the backfield. Looks like Richard's going to go under center. We'll see what they do. He's going to take the snap, and they're going to get a handoff right up the middle. Dayton Diemel crosses the 35, close to the 36-yard line, so maybe a pickup of 4 or 5 on the play for Dayton Diemel as we go inside a minute now. 2nd down and 6 from their own 35-yard line. This time a little confusion in setting up where everyone's supposed to be. 2 receivers set, 3 running backs in the backfield. Richards under center, takes the snap again. Straight handoff, Diemel up the middle. This time crosses the 40 to the 43, taken down there. It will be enough for a 1st down, so stop the clock momentarily. 32 seconds to go here in the first half. Hudson picks up the 1st down. All 3 timeouts remaining.
Hudson playing it pretty conservative, pretty close to the vest, as I suspected they might at the close here of the second half.
Marvin in motion pre-snap. Richards rolls out to the right, now steps up in the pocket, rolls out to the right once again under some pressure, and he's going to be taken down in the backfield for a sack. Mustangs number 8, Mitch Weber. Second time he's stopped Charlie Richards in the backfield for a stop tonight. Negative play for the Hudson Raiders, and now they'll just let the clock run out inside of 10 seconds to go. So that's going to be the halftime score. Well, maybe they will get another playoff here. Richards barking directions.
I don't think so.
And they will not. So clock runs out here in the first half. And that is the score at the first half. 4 rushing touchdowns for Menomonie's Mason Stockey. And that's where it is so far. Menomonie Mustangs 28, Hudson Raiders 7. We'll take a brief break. And as John mentioned earlier, Terry Miller will join us up here in the booth. And we'll come back, give some halftime analysis, look forward to the second half, and maybe cover a plethora of different topics here at halftime. Once again, Menomonie on top over the Hudson Raiders, 28-7 on MSBN.
But I want to say hello to everybody listening and watching back in Hudson. I know several establishments around town run the games, and others that couldn't make the trip for one reason or another over to Menomonie here tuned in. We have a great following for this Hudson Raider team, so thank you each and every one of you for tuning in tonight. And shoot us an email. Love to hear from you. Very easy to do. Click on the email us link on your game tracker screen. You can let us know who you are, where you're listening from, who you're cheering for tonight. We also want to say hello to everybody watching on the Hudsonite website, the new Mike Foley Hudson news site. It's a wonderful site. Mike just does a tremendous job, and formerly of the Patch, now starting his own thing. And we go on there. He has great news stories and do a tremendous job, as I knew he would. Also, too, want to say hello to everybody on the River Channel, Channel 15 watching in, and we partnered up with them this year. So, you know, if you're a Hudson Raider fan, you can't just onward and upward. You got to see what you can do in the second half. The first half, you have to give credit where credit's due. It was all Menomonie Mustangs.
A few minutes left before we go ahead and start the second half. They'll put 3 minutes back up on the scoreboard and give both these teams a little bit of time to warm up to begin the second half. But looking forward for both of these teams, Hudson will come back home next week to Newton Field. They'll take on Rice Lake, as John mentioned earlier, the undefeated Rice Lake football team coming into tonight, and we'll see how that score ends up. Looking at the Menomonie Mustangs next week, they'll actually travel on the road up to Superior High School, who you said, I believe, was also having a very good start to their season, who Hudson lost to by a score of 10-7 last week. So Menomonie travels to Superior. Hudson goes back home to take on Rice Lake next week. John, I think you've mentioned this before, and I know you and I, not in football talks, but I think you've mentioned that you are a Wisconsin Badger fan, and I don't think you can be very happy with the start that they've had to their season either.
Well, you know, it was a tough start against a very good Alabama team, a featured game down in Texas Stadium, and, you know, it wasn't really a stellar start for the Big Ten outside of Ohio State, who's clearly the class team of the Big Ten and maybe the class team of the entire country.
That's
I think
scary, whoever has to play them.
Yeah, I think a very good argument can be made that they're the defending champions and they could run the table and win it all again. Urban Meyer has just been tremendous. But, you know, Wisconsin got beat. Michigan lost to Utah. Minnesota lost to TCU. Northwestern did have a nice win against a highly ranked Stanford team. And Coach Pat Fitzgerald has got them going. But, you know, I remember last year some non-conference things. The Big Ten didn't exactly – actually the last few years didn't exactly set the world on fire. Now we kind of got some cream puff games coming up with some of the Big Ten teams, and then we'll really get to know who's who when the conference season starts here a few weeks from now. But, no, it was a tough loss to a very good Alabama team. And so it's onward. Now, Gophers too. I'm a Badger fan,
right.
but I'm a
that's
U of M.
That's where I was confused.
I'm a U of M graduate, and they unfortunately at home
right.
and ended up losing to a very good TCU team.
Put up
a
good fight.
They did. And you know, now they're on the road against Colorado
right.
State tomorrow. Badgers at home against, I believe it's Miami, Ohio.
Miami, Ohio,
a big-time favorite in that game. So we'll see.
About a minute and 15 to go before we go ahead and start the second half here from Menomonie. And again, just talking before about Mason Stockey and just want to put the emphasis on Hudson being able to do what they do here in the second half, not necessarily worry about the scoreboard. That will take care of itself, obviously, as things progress in this second half. But some keys outside of what we talked about with the penalties and Mason Stockey, what do you look for in the second half out of both teams?
Well, I think if you're Menomonie, you just keep doing work in the first half, and that's Mason Stockey and also too Stanley. You know, what was Stanley's stats? I think he was 4 for 5 or something.
Yeah, he's very efficient.
Like very efficient, and he has an excellent arm strength. He's a big kid, and really seems to be the general out there running things and doing an excellent job. The line play has been very good. You just keep doing what you're doing. You know, you make Hudson figure out a way, some way to stop Mason Stockey, and until they can do that, you just keep running him. I mean, that's simple, basic, fundamental winning football, and that's what they do here in Menomonie. I think if you're Hudson, you got to mix things up a little bit. Defensively, you got to maybe key some linebackers on Stockey, maybe take some chances, try to get a better blitz, because Stanley has been very comfortable in the pocket and has had excellent luck through the air in the times that they've gone. As we talked about earlier, Menomonie was primarily a ground team through the years, has an added air attack wrinkle,
right.
and that looks pretty good behind the 6'5" senior Stanley. And you know, you get Diemel in the game, and you know, Charlie Richards, you know, you try to maybe free him up on some option plays. He has had some success with that in the previous 2 games, not so much success tonight. And you just got to keep your dauber up. You got to keep your head in the game, but it has to start now.
Yep.
You know, you're getting the kickoff, and down by 3 scores. It's got to happen now.
Hudson Raiders will get the ball to start the second half as Stanley is teed it up and ready to kick off from left to right. Again, Burgess back along with Nick Holm for the Hudson Raiders. 12 minutes back up on the scoreboard. Hudson down 28-7, and here we go. And a squib kick near the far sideline, touched there by the Hudson Raiders and then tipped out of bounds. So Not exactly sure what was going on there. They do actually throw the flag, even though it was touched by the Hudson Raiders.
I don't think you can throw a flag on that. I think that's where the ball is.
Yeah, they're going to have a discussion between the refs here because it was touched by Hudson, and the only reason you throw a flag is if the ball goes out strictly off the kicker's foot. And they're talking to, now they're going to have a meeting here between the officials and talking to Hudson Raiders head coach Adam Knowles, and we'll see what we decide here. So the ball is going to be placed at the spot where the ball went out of bounds, and that's right about the Hudson Raider 31-yard line, and that's where the Raiders will take over. Down 28-7 here to start the second half, so a little bit of a weird start.
Well, Hudson in the first half, all things considered, just was not very sharp.
Yeah.
And that's probably the best way to describe it. We still got another half of football to come, and it has to start now.
Down 3 scores. Richards going to go under center to start. 3 men in the backfield, receiver near side. Richards takes the snap, handoff up the middle to Dayton Diemel. The big man doesn't get much on the play, maybe 2 or 3 yards, so make it 2nd down and 7, or 2nd down and 8, as we have an official down actually this time. And he seems to be up and attending to himself. He looks to be all right, so had a couple of injuries on both sides, and now we have an official down.
Well, you know, and I want to just say this, and this is true of all sports at all levels. One of the worst jobs to have, one of the most thankless jobs, and one of the most important jobs is being an official. And I say that in all sincerity, because you could have 100 plays, you know, in front of you, call 99% of them correct, and everybody's going to jump all over you for that one bad one you potentially made. It's a thankless job. Nobody's getting rich doing this, but officials make this game possible. And so, you know, I just wanted to throw that out there. Hopefully he's okay.
He appears to be all right, so 2nd down and 8 for the Raiders. Richards back under center, 1 receiver near side, takes the snap. Again, Diemel up the middle, and again, not much doing, maybe another gain of 2, so 3rd down and 6 from their own 40-yard line for the Hudson Raiders here to start this possession of the second half.
Tom Mayer emailing in and brings up a point. It says, we mentioned why Hudson is struggling, you know, some mistakes and whatnot, and really a lack of discipline, and he's just you know, questioning, you know, the coach. How is the coaching role playing in that, the undisciplinedness and some of the mistakes? And I guess that's a compelling question. Thank you for the email, Tom.
Again, Diemel handoff up the middle, not going to quite get the 1st down, but he does pick up positive yardage. So 4th down and about 2.5 this time for the Hudson Raiders, and they are going to go for it right back up to the line. Richards under center, Diemel right behind him. 2 other wingbacks in the backfield, receiver near side. Jagger Marvin in motion, and they'll reset. Don't like what they see from the defense. Find something new. Richards barking out signals, and we're going to get a timeout from the Menomonie Mustangs. Coach Labuda didn't like what he saw from the offense, so he decides to take a little break and talk to his defense to try to defend this 4th and 1 from the Hudson 44-yard line.
And that's really something that happened a couple different times in the first half for Menomonie. He just didn't like the personnel out there, or the set, or saw something and called a timeout. It's a good place for a timeout. This is a very important play here. You know, Hudson has to have this 1st down to keep this drive going. Down by 3 touchdowns. If you just joined us, 28-7. Menomonie a very solid first half, but Hudson did get the kickoff here in the second half and trying to get something going.
3-score lead for the Menomonie Mustangs on the back of Mason Stockey with 4 rushing touchdowns in the first half. Broken up by a Steven Trapiccio 3-yard touchdown run for the Hudson Raiders. That's their lone score on the scoreboard. That brings us to where we are. 10:35 to go in the 3rd quarter, just underway in the second half, and a 4th down and 1 for the Raiders. Richards under center. 2 tight ends set, 3 backs in the backfield, and a receiver split out wide. Ball lost on the snap, and no matter what, who picked it up or who didn't pick it up, it's going to be a turnover here. And the Menomonie Mustangs again will take over with great field position inside Hudson Raider territory. They pick it up at the Hudson Raider 43-yard line, so they get a timeout called, they get the play they want and just can't handle the snap, and that's where the Mustangs take over.
Very poor execution that time. There's no other way to say it on the part of the Hudson Raiders. 4th and short, trying to sustain this drive here, which they had to have, already down by 3 scores, and something went awry, and not only does the drive end, Menomonie starts with their opening possession of the second half with excellent field position.
So Stanley going to go out of the shotgun to open this drive. 2 receivers split out on the far side, Stocky in the backfield. They give it to him near side, crosses for 45 inside there. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage for Mason Stocky. So a good job in the closing portion of the first half, and now initially to start the second half on kind of just bottling up Mason Stocky right at the line of scrimmage.
Well, that's their number one goal. That's their number one focus here in the second half, because Mason Stocky, 4 touchdowns, a ton of yards in the first half. One of the top backs, if not the top back in the Big Rivers Conference this year.
Second down and 10 for the Mustangs from the Hudson 43-yard line. Again, 2 receivers split out. Tight end to the right, Stocky in the backfield. Stanley takes the snap, fakes the pass to the left. Now he goes down the sideline to the left. Got a man inside the 20, inside the 15, down to the 10-yard line. A nice slick pass from Nate Stanley all the way down to the 10-yard line. That was Rhett Sheehan on the reception for the Mustangs. And again, inside the 10-yard line and knocking on the door are the Mustangs.
Right now, Zach, the Menomonie Mustangs are hitting on all cylinders, going to the air, whether it's Stanley through the air. I think he's 5 for 6 or something like that. Stocky on the ground. Hudson had decent coverage that time, but the ball was exactly where it needed to be when it needed to be there, and inside the red zone, knocking on the door again.
First and goal, power I, handoff Stocky up the middle. Gets inside the 10, now inside the 5, stopped at the 4-yard line, so second down and goal. And we've seen this one before, that power I, 3 men in the backfield, 3 tight end set with Stanley under center. They just hand it off and let the big man go.
And it's working. It's nothing fancy, it's nothing, cutting edge, nothing new, but you go with what works. It works in the first half, and until Hudson can prove they can stop it, you're just going to keep playing it.
Second down and goal from just inside the 5-yard line. 3 minutes in the second half, 9 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Stanley under center. This time going to keep it, rolls out to the right, and Stanley's going to have a wide open path into the end zone. So this time they fake the handoff to Mason Stocky, and Stanley keeps it himself for an easy 5-yard touchdown run on the near side. So lead extended from 28 to 34-7 now in favor of the Menomonie Mustangs.
This game is very quickly getting out of hand for the Hudson Raiders after Menomonie completed that big-time pass to pull them into the red zone. Bang, bang, knocked it in, and they're an extra point away from going up 4 scores.
Extra point attempt again from Stanley is up, and he's 5 for 5 on the extra points. So this time Stanley runs it in. He also kicks his own extra point. So now we go to 35-7, 3 minutes and 4 seconds into this third quarter. Menomonie Mustangs on top of the Hudson Raiders.
Bongo Bruce emailing in and says very simply, Bongo not liking this football. Come on, Hudson, let's go. And I think that speaks probably for all the Hudson Raider fans here, because they are getting the wood laid to them right now, down 35-7 on a fired-up Menomonie team. The fumble on 4th down or whatever happened there, I'm still not entirely sure, just opened the door wide open for Menomonie to get off to a tremendous start here in the second half and build on that lead, and now you're in an even bigger hole.
So down by 4 scores, Hudson going to get the football back. Again, Burgess and Holm back deep to receive, along with Devin Dalton. Another man deep for the Hudson Raiders this time. 8:56 to go here in the third quarter. 1 timeout already used by the Mustangs. They have 2 remaining, all 3 remaining timeouts for the Hudson Raiders. Stanley's kick, another end over end. This one going to be taken inside the 5 by Burgess. 5-10, far sideline 15-20, cuts it up there, gets close to the 25-yard line and actually slips out of a tackle, but doesn't get much more than that. Crosses the 30 to the 32-yard line, so that's where they'll start. Very close to the starting field position of their last drive. From the 32, with 8:47 to go, down by 28 points are the Hudson Raiders.
And here's really the challenge for the Hudson Raiders at this point, down 4 scores. They're not a quick strike team. They're primarily a grinded-out ground team. Their passing attack has been really nothing to write home about this year, but they're going to have to do it.
This time fakes the handoff, and then he hands off to Burgess, was Charlie Richards out of the shotgun. Handoff to Burgess, doesn't get much, probably got pushed back actually for a loss. They're going to mark it at the 31, so a loss of 1 on the play. 2nd down and 11 for the Raiders.
And this coming in, very, very surprising actually. Up in Superior, the Chippewa Falls Cardinals all over the Superior Spartans, 33-0 that game in Superior. Wow.
This time Richards again out of the shotgun, and another handoff right up the middle. Dayton Demo crosses the 35, gets to the 37-yard line, so a decent pickup on 2nd down and long will bring up 3rd down and about 6 here for the Raiders.
The Raiders still in that hurry-up offense, and they're going to have to hurry up.
Yeah.
There's no question about that.
Richards back under center, 2 tight ends, 2 receivers, 2 backs. Back to pass, rolls out to the left, nobody there. Continues to get flushed out of the pocket, closes it on 35 and hit out of bounds. There is a flag down on the play. Big hit on Charlie Richards as he's hit out of bounds by Menomoni's Alex Larson. Nice defensive play to just chase down Richards and not allow him to get any positive yardage. We'll see what the flag is for.
And Charlie Richards really had a lick laid on him. I felt that was kind of a late hit, but it doesn't matter because it wasn't called, and Hudson's going to go back anyway on the as the penalties continue to mount up for this Hudson Raider team.
Another holding penalty, so we'll see where they spot the football after this one, or if Menomonie even elects to take this, because it'll be 4th down, and they do decline it, so it'll be 4th down and 6 here for the Raiders, and it looks like the punt team is on, trailing 35-7.
Al Kallenbach emails in. Al, Molly, Michaela, and Michelle say, "Go Raiders!" And right now, Al, the Raiders need all the help they can get, so we're going to have to ask everybody who's a Raider fan to give it everything they got, because they're not doing so hot tonight.
Sheehan and Goodman back deep to receive the punt for the Mustangs. Bell, the man in to punt it away for the Raiders. Clean snap. Gets it off. Low liner taken, and it's going to actually land out of bounds on the near sideline, on the Mustangs sideline. They'll mark it at the 26-yard line. That's where the Mustangs will take over. So decent punt by Christian Bell. Pushes Menomonie back into their own territory, and they'll take over at their own 26-yard line.
Well, we have to, if you're the Hudson Raiders, you're going to have to figure out a way to stop them. I mean, that's just, there's no other way to put it here. Is Menomonie continuing to convert first downs, rack up the yards, pour on the points, and you have to draw the line in the sand here.
Again, 2 tight ends, 2 receivers. Pitch this time to Woodman. He crosses the 25-30, 35-40, far sideline, 45-50, and finally dragged out of bounds by the Hudson defense. That time, John Cryer, the man to meet him in Hudson territory. So a big first down pickup on the pitch to number 19, Jake Goodman. Good for about 30 yards on the play, and a fresh set of downs for the Menomonie Mustangs once again inside Hudson Raider territory.
Former Hudson student Joey Greasy says, "Go Raiders." He's listening from his dorm right here on the campus of UW Stout, class of 2015.
Handoff this time near sideline, 40, 35, 30, 25, down the sideline, and a big hit on the sideline by Hudson Raider defender. That's number 9, Devin Dalton with the big hit. The ball carrier that time for the Mustangs was number 21, Justin Evans.
And the Mustangs, once again, right exactly at the 20-yard line, which officially means they are in the red zone.
That's actually a correction. Evan Hoosby was the ball carrier that time for the Mustangs. Another big carry, and 1st and 10 from the Hudson Raider 20-yard line with the Mustangs already on top, 35-7. Power I formation, and handoff right up the middle. Again, that's Stocky. Not much on the play, actually. Gain of about 2 or 3, so 2nd down and about 8 here for the Mustangs inside the Raider 20-yard line, and inside 7 minutes now in this 3rd quarter.
And if you're the Mustangs, you're in no hurry. You're sitting on a very comfortable lead. The more time you use, the less time you're allowing Hudson to potentially somehow, some way, get the ball back and cut into this lead. So there's
Pitch
no hurry.
This time out to Woodman, far sideline, gets across the 15. Now he's inside the 10, tripped up there, inside the 5, and he's finally pushed out of bounds inside the 5-yard line by Christian Bell.
Inside the 5 to the 4.
And it'll be first and goal on the pickup from Jake Woodman for the Mustangs. So first and goal from the 4-yard line.
Henry Reese emails in, says, come on, Raiders, says that the O-line needs to pick up the block and give the running backs a chance. And he says right now the defense has no answer. And Henry, I'm 100% in agreement with you as the defense, again, with their back to the wall.
Again, that power eye stocking the backfield. Stanley this time fakes the handoff, rolls out to the right, and it looks like he's going to run for another one. Cuts inside that right pylon once again, fakes the handoff to Stocky, and Stanley scores another Menomonie Mustang touchdown.
Well, this one very quickly getting out of hand as now the Mustangs have scored for the second time this half to increase this lead all the way up to 41-7.
And again, attempting his own extra point is Nate Stanley. Lead 41-7, 6:22 here in the third quarter. Snap, spot, kick, and he might have. And he did. He missed that one. So make it 5 for 6 for Nate Stanley on the night. I'd say he's made a solid contribution elsewhere. A couple of rushing touchdowns. Very efficient passing the ball. He misses the extra point, but nevertheless, they do get the touchdown. And it now reads Menomonie Mustangs 41, Hudson Raiders 7.
And it's looking like, from this score, and it's very early on in the season here, but Menomonie has established itself, not only this game, but what they've done up to this point as one of the teams to beat the Chippewa Falls Cardinals, absolutely crushing the Superior Spartans who beat Hudson last week. That game in Superior, up 33-0 up there, and Rice Lake also continuing to roll over Eau Claire North. And so I think it's looking like right now it's going to be a 3-team race between Rice Lake, Menomonie, and Chippewa Falls here. And some big-time matchups, some big-time showdown games coming up in the upcoming weeks. And boy, if you're the Hudson Raiders right now, you're just trying to figure a way to do something right. Get something positive out of this, and put this one behind you and get on the bus and head west.
41-7 lead for the Menomonie Mustangs, a 34-point lead with 6:22 to go here in the third quarter. Stanley's kickoff going to be taken this time inside the 5-10, far sideline 15-20, a little bit of a hole across to the 25, and now pushed down at the 30-yard line. That was Devin Dalton on the return for the Hudson Raiders, and that's where they'll take over this time, just inside the 30 at the 29-yard line, and quarterback Charlie Richards will bring the boys out and see what they can do down by 34.
So just to throw some numbers at you, the Menomonie Mustangs in week number 2 of the Big Rivers Conference season has outscored their opponents 84-7. So the Mustangs are back.
That's a pretty good start.
That's a very good start.
If you're Menomonie. Richards under center, 3 men in the backfield, 2 receivers set. Takes the snap, straight handoff up the middle. This is Diemel once again, and now being driven back. Not much on the play, maybe a gain of 1 on the forward progress. But Diemel then driven back by Menomonie's number 8, Mitch Weber, and number 25, Mason Stocky. That Stocky is all over the field.
Well, playing on both sides, and an excellent athlete. Maybe the only drawback, and it all depends on conditioning, is sometimes in the fourth quarter when you're on the field.
Well, not today.
Not today, though.
Richards under center, man in motion, takes the snap, handoff up the middle once again, and this time dropped in the backfield once again. So a loss of 1. That was Diemel, the ball carrier once again for the Hudson Raiders. So third down and long upcoming from their own 31-yard line.
And offensively, Hudson they just are missing that dynamic element there, whether it's, some kind of a, do you try some kind of an end around or a play action or a double reverse, something, to try to free up, get something going.
This time out of the shotgun, the option to the left. Richards going to keep it himself, crosses near the 35. Not much on the play, maybe a gain of 2, so make it 4th down and 6 from their own 34.
And you're going to punt it away. Coach Adam Cowles is a gambler on 4th down, but I don't think you roll the dice at this juncture. Down 41-7 on your own 34 yard line. Don't do it here.
Bell on to punt it away for the Raiders. Approaching 4.5 minutes to go now here in the third quarter. Again, Woodman and Sheehan back deep to receive for the Mustangs. Good snap. Bell handles it cleanly, gets it off. Not a very good punt. Off the side of his foot, and it's going to go out of bounds near midfield, right around the 50 or 45 yard line of the Hudson Raiders. We'll see. It'll all depend on the referee's spot, and they're going to mark it at the Hudson Raider 42 yard line, and that's where the Mustangs will take over, up by 34 points with 4:22 to go here in the third quarter.
You know, now the question is, with this commanding lead, you know, does Menomonie start taking the foot off the pedal a little bit, if you will, or, you know, do you still try to rack up the points? And I guess we'll find out. Defensively for Hudson, it's about saving face right now.
Quarterback Stanley back out there for the Mustangs. They'll spread it out a little bit. Two receivers to the left. Woodman actually the man in the backfield with Stocky split out to the left. He'll pitch it to Woodman. He'll get across the 45, a couple of blockers in the 40, close down to the 35, so pick up of about 7 or 8 for Jake Goodman, on the first down carry. So second down and short for the Mustangs.
I like the Mustangs' speed on that play. They've been consistently getting 6, 7, 8, 9 yards on that just basic sweep play on pure speed. They're out hustling the Raider defense, which I haven't seen a lot of teams do, to be honest with you. Hudson has been very quick and aggressive, and they're just beating him to the punch.
Second down and 3 from the Hudson Raiders 36 yard line. This time Stanley will go under center, I formation, 2 tight ends, receiver near side. This time they'll hand off to the fullback right up the middle. That's the first time we've seen that from the Mustangs tonight. Looks like he got enough for the first down. I'll try to get you a number, just exactly who that fullback is for the Mustangs. And they do mark it for a first down. So another first down for the Mustangs inside the Hudson Raider 33 yard line. Three or four different players coming off the field at a time for the Mustangs, so switching up the formations a little bit, and they go back to that power I. 3 tight ends, 3 backs. Stanley, sweep out to the right, across the 35, down to the 30, inside the 30, close to the 25 yard line. And I believe that was Mitch Weber who got the sweep that time as Stocky came out of the ball game, replaced by Mitch Weber, and he gets a decent gain on first down, pickup of about 6.
Of course, a big weekend of football ahead, another second week of college, a lot of non-conference, only really a handful of what I would call close competitive games. Michigan State taking on Oregon.
Yeah, that should be a good one.
One that jumps to mind. But and at the start of the much anticipated first Sunday of NFL action.
Right, 2 tight ends, 2 backs. Stanley right up the middle this time, again to the fullback. And this time I've got it figured out. Number 6, Austin Steitel is the ball carrier. The fullback now in for the Mustangs, and he picks up maybe a yard or 2. So third down and 1 for the Mustangs from the Hudson 22 yard line as we approach 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter.
Nice crowd here at Don and Nona Williams Stadium, Menomonie, campus of University of Wisconsin-Stout, a wonderful facility.
Stocky up the middle, crosses the 25, now inside the 10, breaks a tackle, and Stocky is in for his 5th rushing touchdown of the evening. Mason Stocky once again tacking on points to this Menomonie Mustang lead, 47-7 in favor of the Mustangs.
And the blocking was there for Stocky, but he also had the moves and the power on that one, but nothing really fancy, just excellent execution. And the Mason Stocky show continues to roll here in Menomonie.
So 47-7, and Stanley 5 for 6 on the extra points so far tonight. We'll see what he does on his 7th attempt. Snap is down, kicks up. Looks like he got that one, and indeed he did. So make it 48-7 in favor of the home team, the Menomonie Mustangs, on top of the Hudson Raiders by 41 points here in this one. Late in the third quarter, it'll be 1:48 to go. And this is just purely for my knowledge. I'm not sure how they do it here in Wisconsin, but if you're up by 35 in the second half, is it running clock? Not that I'm rubbing it in.
No,
I'm asking.
It is, and I was just thinking that,
Okay.
and that is a good point. And so we now are at that juncture.
Yep.
Excuse me, I believe that that starts in the fourth quarter.
Oh, okay.
The fourth quarter.
Okay.
I think in Minnesota it's the second half.
Yes.
Wisconsin's the fourth
Yeah.
quarter, I believe. But yes, there is that. There is that rule. In fact, if it would have been the second half rule, we would have already gone to running clock by this point.
Right.
Prior to that score, I'll tell you what. This is our 5th season of doing Hudson Raider football. We started in game 1 of the 2011 season, and the losses they've had, they lost to Heartland Arrowhead 3 times. They lost an overtime game on the road against Eau Claire Memorial. Last week's home loss against Superior, a playoff loss against Appleton North. Their record against Big Rivers Conference teams in the years we've done this is 26-4. But tonight, it's all Menomonie.
Another squib kick from Stanley, and again it goes out of bounds on the far sideline, close to the 25-yard line. So Hudson going to take the penalty this time, and they'll start with the ball at their own 35-yard line with 1:48 to go here in the third quarter.
And I guess what I was getting at is, the losses have been few and far between, but even the few losses that Hudson has had, they've been close, competitive
Right.
losses. There's been nothing even close to this, and that
Yeah.
includes those games against Heartland Arrowhead. This has been by far the worst potential loss that they have had in the years we've covered.
Richards back to pass, thrown up in the air, pass is picked off. There's a flag down on the play. We'll see what the call is. Might negate the interception, but picked off by Mustang number 26, Logan Miller, at the 35-yard line. He brings it back all the way down inside the 20, but I have a little bit of a hunch here that this is going to be pass interference on the Mustangs.
And they're talking it over.
And it looks like no penalty. They were going to call pass interference, but I believe the call on the field is going to be that the ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage, so there was kind of a free play there.
And just to explain that probably was pass interference. However, if the ball is tipped,
Yep.
that negates it because
Yep.
in essence it's a live
a free ball. Yeah.
And so that
Timeout, Menomonie.
that waved off the defensive
Right.
pass interference penalty. And boy.
So Richards' pass is indeed picked off by number 26, Logan Miller, who returns it inside the 25 all the way to the Hudson Raider 24-yard line, or 23-yard line. So the Mustangs already up by 41. Will take over inside Raider territory with 52 seconds to go here in the first half. Or excuse me, in the third quarter.
And Henry Reese asks, is Stocky going to play in college? And I know he's being looked at, and rightfully so, by a number of big-time programs. I think he has the skills to play at the next level. It is pure speculation at this point.
Right.
It's a big jump from high school to college, but from what I've seen tonight, he definitely has the skills.
A new quarterback in for the Menomonie Mustangs. It's number 22, Sam Donofsky, actually going to take the snaps here. Under center, handoff right up the middle, close to the 20-yard line. And down to the 21-yard line is the Mustangs' number 5, Braden Decker, 5'5", 158-pound junior. His first carry of the evening, good for a couple of yards, so second down and 8 from the Raider 21-yard line. 30 seconds to go here in the third quarter.
Aaron Hack emailing in. He says, good to see Josh Fry with some hustle out there. Family from southern Wisconsin watching the game down in Lake Geneva tonight. Said not too much to watch, but go Raiders. And I'll second that.
Again under center, this time handoff to the fullback right up the middle. That's going to probably be the last play of the third quarter here. I believe that was number 14, Brendan Freon on the carry. Junior running back / linebacker for the Mustangs. So that will run us down to the end of the third quarter. And as we mentioned, running clock here in the fourth quarter as the Menomonie Mustangs lead it by a score of 48-7 over the Hudson Raiders.
Yeah, this is definitely Menomonie's night, Mason Stocky's night, and really the Mustangs' night. They've probably heard a lot about the 7-year losing streak to Hudson going in. I know this was one of the games, probably the game that they really, I think, wanted to to win and to win big if possible because of what's happened in the recent years. But I think with this performance tonight, Menomonie is reestablishing themselves as the team to beat this year, and there's a lot of season to go. And as I mentioned before, Chippewa Falls looking very good, Rice Lake's undefeated, but from what I've seen tonight, a very, very solid Mustang team. And the Hudson team right now, looking at starting 0-3 once this last quarter ticks away, not what you wanted to see. A very promising start early. It seems like if you go back when they had Harlan Arrowhead down 27-7, and Harlan Arrowhead converts that 4th and 19.
Yep.
And then Superior, they had some glimpses, but not a real good game played overall. And tonight, just a lot of things going wrong. But they have to right the ship going into next week.
Again, Donofsky under center. They'll pitch it out to the left, cuts it back up near mid towards the left hash inside the 20-yard line, down to the 17-yard line.
And here's some information coming in from Dustin off the email, out of the email bag. He said he's pretty sure Stocky is going to the University of Wisconsin, and Stanley is going to Iowa.
Okay.
2 Division I recruits.
Donofsky under center on a 4th down and 4 here for the Mustangs. They'll pitch it out right side. Going to be taken down in the backfield, so it'll be a turnover on down for the Mustangs. Nice tackle in the backfield. Mitch Swanson, the first man to get there for the Hudson Raiders. So the Raiders get the football back. They don't allow the Mustangs to score. As we said, running time closing in on 11 minutes to go in this football game. The Raiders will take over at their own 19-yard line.
Lonnie Meineke emails in. He says, this is rough. Hudson needs to pick it up. Of course, Lonnie Meineke, a name I recognize from years past. Tom Mayer emailing in. And just reading reading through his email about about Menomonie potentially going conservative as they have a commanding lead here.
This time handoff up the middle for the Hudson Raiders. Jake Somerville in at quarterback for the Hudson Raiders. The handoff was to number 23, Ryan McDevitt, a 5'9" senior. There is a flag down on the play. An illegal motion on the Raiders, so back them up from the initial line of scrimmage. Negates the 7-yard pickup on the play, so it'll be 1st down and long again for the Raiders.
We don't have precipitation tonight, but there's a lot of truth to the saying, when it rains, it pours. and it's been a monsoon season on the Hudson Raiders tonight in terms of these mistakes and penalties and just a lot of different things going wrong.
So 1st down and 15 from their own 14-yard line. 3 men in the backfield. Somerville under center. A little miscommunication with the handoff that time. Somerville ended up just keeping it himself. Maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. So it'll be 2nd down and long for the Raiders.
I just want to get back to Tom Mayer's email here, and his point was when you have a big lead, sometimes you're inclined to go a little more conservative, and next thing you know, that big lead has shrunk to a very slim lead, and his point was, just keep pouring it on.
Somerville back to pass, and he hit as he threw. Ball got tipped up in the air and ends up incomplete behind the line of scrimmage. So Somerville 0 for 1 in his first attempt of the night, and it's going to be 3rd down and still pretty long. 3rd down and 14 for the Raiders. This time he'll go back under center. 3 men in the backfield, 2 receivers, 1 to each side. Man in motion, fakes the pitch, rolls out to the left, got a man open, crosses the 20, slips a tackle there across the 25, 30, 35, 40, near sideline 45, and taken down out of bounds at the Menomonie Mustang 45-yard line. That was Nick Holm on the reception, his first catch of the night for the Hudson Raiders. So Somerville 1 for 2. Holm with a nice catch and a nice run afterwards, slipped a couple of tackles and made a positive play out of what looked to be possibly a couple of yard loss.
And Jake Somerville, of course, taking over for Charlie Richards here at quarterback in the 4th and getting his first snaps of the season.
Back under center. This time they hand off. Holm left side. Not much going on there. Maybe a 2-yard pickup for Nick Holm. 6'1", 195-pound senior for the Raiders.
Gain of 2 to the 44, second and 8.
So inside 8 minutes now here to go in this ball game.
Bauer with a tackle.
48-7 lead for the Mustangs.
And Dustin writes in, he said, yes, Stocky is going to Madison to play linebacker. Actually, not running back, to play linebacker.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. Nice pitch, good catch. Burgess in the backfield makes a nice cut up the middle of the field, and another flag down on the Hudson Raiders inside the 40, close to the 35-yard line of the Mustangs, but probably going to be negated due to a holding penalty once again.
Boy, I'll tell you what, we don't have, you know, you use the terminology film. If you're the Hudson Raiders, you take this non-existent game film because it's digital, and you have a campfire and you throw it in and burn it. There's not just this one needs to be forgotten about. Between the penalties and the mistakes, it's just not been a pretty scene for Hudson tonight. Wow.
And it is holding on the Hudson Raiders, so back them up 10 yards from the spot. And Menomonie is going to go ahead and take a timeout here. So with 6:54 to go in the ball game, Mustangs take a timeout, and a little confusion between the refs here.
Well, while they try to figure it out here, we'll go back into the MSBN email bag. Henry Reese emailing in. It says, how about we score now? Shout out to my brothers watching in Ohio tonight. So, Henry, thank you for the kind words. And Tom Mayer, just to reiterate his point, which I do agree with, he says, no, you never go conservative. And basically, you know, you don't sit on a lead,
right,
or on the defensive side of the ball. You know, how many times in I'm not just talking high school, college,
right,
pro, where you have maybe a 3-touchdown lead sometime in the second half, and you go into that prevent defense.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said. The only thing the prevent defense prevents is winning.
Yeah, just ask Leslie Frazier.
Right.
3-receiver set for Somerville this time. Back to pass. Now he's going to roll out to the left under some pressure. Gets the football away. Nice catch on the far sideline across the 40 down to the 39-yard line. I believe that's Hudson's number 89, Thomas Newell, the 6', 155-pound junior receiver. So a nice pickup on second down and long to make it 3rd and short. It'll be 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 4 from the Menomonie 39-yard line. 6.5 to go here in the game.
And Jake Somerville really making a statement for possibly taking over the quarterback position.
Somerville, handoff this time. This is number 23 for the Raiders, Ryan McDevitt. He picks up a first down, a good pickup of 6 on the play. So moving the chains once again. Somerville got this offense in motion here in the 4th quarter.
And granted, Menomonie has probably, you know, started to empty the bench and pulled some of the starters. So you have to factor that in as well. We got a score update coming up. I'll give it after this play.
Somerville, handoff up the middle. This is number 48 for the Raiders, inside the 35, actually the 25, excuse me, down near the 20-yard line. I believe that's number 45, Daniel Olson, 5'11", junior halfback, running back, however you want to call it, for the Hudson Raiders. A nice pickup on first down. And again, a second down and short. And they're actually going to move the chains again.
Another score update from up north in a wild, high-scoring shootout. Rice Lake leads Eau Claire North at the end of the 3rd, 51-43.
Wow.
Chi High all over the Superior Spartans, 39-7.
Somerville back to pass. Wide open man down the far sideline. That's Burgess. Going to take it in easily inside the 5 and just back his way into the end zone. So Raiders score a late touchdown. That's a Somerville to Andres Burgess touchdown pass. So cut the lead from 48-7 to 48-13 for the Raiders.
Well, even though this game, the outcome of this game was decided, you know, quite some time ago, if you're the Raiders, you want to get something to go right, and then try to build on that. And Sam Somerville, I have to, or excuse me, Jake Somerville. So I think Sam was his brother. Looked good on that drive.
Extra point from Christian Bell. That one's up and through. So
Menomonie 48, Hudson 14.
From 48-7 to 48-14, a nice drive from Jake Somerville and this Raider offense late in the football game. And again, some confusion as there's more laundry down on the field on the extra point.
I don't even want to.
They're going to go ahead. Must have been on the defense. They're going to go ahead and decline it. So the extra point will count. So the score will remain 48-14 in favor of the Menomonie Mustangs. 5:12 to go here in the football game.
Well, and if you're a Hudson fan, this kind of you're not used to this. You know, this is a Hudson team that has had great success in recent years. Not only against this Menomonie team, but back-to-back conference championships in 2012, 2013, an 18-game conference winning streak, a 20-game home winning streak against all teams, a couple of really deep runs in the playoffs here, but they got brought down to earth tonight against this Mustang team that's playing very well. And the only thing you can do if you're Hudson, you just go back, you learn from it, you put it behind you, and it's onward and upward, and you're going to have to figure out something because you got a Rice Lake team coming in undefeated that can put up big-time points. They got 51 on the board with a quarter to go against an Eau Claire North team. That reminds me of the game we had with Rice Lake last year. We ended up losing 56-54, 110,
Wow.
110 points scored, almost 1,200 yards of combined offense between the two teams. Throw in a 50-minute lightning delay, and then we had the chance to win it at the end of the game, and the field goal attempt to win it went wide. One of the wildest games I've seen in many years of broadcast in high school football.
So Bell on to kickoff for the Raiders. From left to right, end over end kick. It's going to let it roll inside, going to roll into the end zones for a touchback. So Mustangs will take over at their own 20-yard line. As I said last time, Donovsky now in at quarterback that's Sam Donovsky in at quarterback for the Menomonie Mustangs, and a whole new crew of running backs and receivers. So we'll see who gets the football here for the Mustangs. Again, running time 48-14 with 5:12 to go here in the fourth quarter.
And Jimmy Johnny emailing in, and he says Mason Stockey committed to the Badgers back in April. Earlier this year as an outside linebacker, so he in fact is going to Madison to play linebacker. So best of luck to him there.
Two side end set for Donovsky, who's under center. Three men in the backfield. Handoff up the middle, taken down at about the 23-yard line. Inside of 5 minutes to go now in the football game. Ball carrier was Braden Decker once again for the Mustangs. 5'5", 158-pound junior running back for Menomonie.
And if you're Menomonie, this is a very sweet win. Hudson has really had their number in recent years, and they came into this game very focused, very prepared. They have the weapons down there, and they just made it happen tonight.
Donovsky letting the play clock run down here as we approach 4 minutes and 15 seconds to go. Under center, three tight ends. They'll pitch it out to the right. Now cuts it up back across the 25, close to the 29-yard line, and taken down there. Close to a first down, but that didn't quite get there, so 3rd down and 2 for the Mustangs.
We'll see if we can get some finals on those Big River Conference scores before we close up shop and slip silently into the night here tonight and head west.
3rd down and short from the 29-yard line for the Mustangs as they lead it by a score of 48-14 here in the fourth quarter. Continuing with that power eye, just trying to chew this clock all the way down. Donovsky under center. They'll pitch it out to the left this time. Gets a cut. Nice block up the middle. They will pick up the first down across the 35, close to the 38-yard line. A couple of nice blocks on the edge that time for the Mustangs. Ball carrier was number 21, Justin Evans, 5'11" sophomore. 3:15 to go now in this one as they pick up another first down.
And I would have to go back in the archives in terms of scores. How many years it's been since Hudson has suffered a loss, this significant of a loss? It's been many years, I think, especially during Coach Adam Cowell's 10-year run here at Hudson.
Donovsky again letting that play clock roll down. Three tight ends, takes the snap. Familiar story, right up the middle across the 40. Down, at the 42-yard line, taken down there. Again, that's Decker. So decent pickup on first down will bring up 2nd down and 5 for the Mustangs.
If you're the Raiders, you can't get out of here fast enough.
Now, Mua Yang and number 15, Adam Kay, into the game for the Mustangs, replacing a couple of the backs in the backfield. So a lot of guys seeing some action here tonight. for both sides. And now we're going to get a delay of game, it looks like, on the Mustangs.
Legal substitution against Menomonie.
Oh, legal substitution. So maybe too many men in the huddle there that time. Either way, clock is still running, and that's the point here for the Mustangs. But back them up 5 yards. So 2nd down and 9 now, inside 2 minutes to go.
And I'm just watching the Menomonie coaches down there.
Yeah.
Even though they've had a tremendous game and a convincing win here, stuff like that really makes
Yeah.
coaches angry.
2 tight ends. This time 2 receivers split out, 1 on each side. I formation in the backfield behind Donofsky. He's going to go under center, take the snap. They'll give it to the fullback right up the middle, and he's stuffed for no gain. Maybe a loss of a yard or 2 on that play. Hudson sniffed that one out nicely. 4 or 5 defenders right on the fullback there that time as soon as he got the football. So 3rd down and 9, just barely got back to the line of scrimmage. We approach 1 minute to go.
And again, we'll have live coverage next week, homecoming week, back at Newton Field, and the Rice Lake Warriors coming in. And well, we've had some great games with Rice Lake. 2 years ago when Rice Lake was at Hudson, Hudson ended up beating them in overtime and had a blocked punt at the end of the game to force overtime and ended up winning it. And
Again,
good rivalry.
Power I, pitch out to the right, crosses the 40, now close to their own 45-yard line. It's number 21, Justin Evans, for the Mustangs. So 30 seconds to go now, and it's a 4th down and about 3 yards to go here for Menomonie. And they will have to get another play off, and that will probably be the last play here.
And
Or maybe they don't. Coaches seem to think that they don't have to get another play off. I thought the ball was spotted before there was 25 seconds, but they're just going to let it roll down. And that'll be it. Final score here from Menomonie for the first time since 2007. The Menomonie Mustangs have defeated the Hudson Raiders. Final score here tonight in Menomonie, 48-14 in favor of the Mustangs. 2 touchdowns for the Raiders on the night. A Trapiccio 3-yard run in the first half, and a Jake Somerville completed pass to Andres Burgess from 20 yards out. And Christian Bell good with the extra point on both of those. The 2 touchdowns for the Hudson Raiders. Stocky, 4 rushing touchdowns for the Menomonie Mustangs. Stanley, 2 rushing touchdowns for the Menomonie Mustangs. So the offensive firepower we talked about at the beginning of this one showed through and through, all the way through for this one for the Menomonie Mustangs again as they take it 48-14.
well, I think if you're the Hudson Raiders, you got a lot of work to do. They were showing up probably their worst loss in at least 5 years, if not 6 or 7, and improvements are needed on both sides of the ball. I still think this is a good football team. I think they will have some success, and it has to start next week if they hope to have a winning season for the 5th consecutive year, possibly even a playoff berth. You need 4 wins in conference, and there's 5 games to go. So you're going to have to win 80% of your games. You're going to have to win at 4 out of the 5 to qualify for the playoffs. You're going to have to run the table if you hope to have a winning record, being that there was only an 8-game schedule this year, not the 9, which would put you at 5-3. We got our last score update coming in. The Rosemont Irish shut out the Lakeville South Cougars 21-0. Hopefully we can get some Big Rivers Conference final scores here, particularly that Rice Lake Eau Claire North game, which you can tune into on here on the MSBN Sports Network. But Chippewa Falls won big, I believe, against Superior, up at Superior. I know Eau Claire Memorial was having a time of it against River Falls, and probably end up going to pulling out that game. But if Rice Lake holds on to beat Eau Claire North at home, Rice Lake will come into next week to Hudson's homecoming in Newton Field at 4-0.
Yep, and as we mentioned, Hudson now 0-3 on this young season, 48-14 tonight, and now the Menomonie Mustangs undefeated at 4-0. They will travel to Superior High School next weekend to take on Superior, the Spartans, and Hudson, their homecoming next weekend, Friday, September 18th, at home against Rice Lake. Once again, final score from Menomonie here tonight. The Menomonie Mustangs 48, the Hudson Raiders 14. This has been MSBN.